Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, Viksit Bharat at 2047, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today is celebrated as National Airport Day in US. It is held on February 19th every year. If you are looking for it and close-up encounter with the wildlife of the wetlands, then head to Florida's Everglades. This day was created to give both tourists and locals a chance to explore Floridan wildlife, especially its misunderstood yet fierce alligators. You can also get to observe the region's tropical birds and endangered species over there. To enhance tourist eco-tour experiences, Wild Florida Airports created National Airport Day on February 19, 2021. The Floridian Everglades is home to hundreds of animal species, many which are endangered, while Florida has been providing tourists with days on encounters with the wild on sturdy airports. On National Airport Day, Wild Florida offers tourists heavy discounts for their tours, and they had to claim it to remember to shout Happy Airports Day while booking. So airports are ideal choice for a cruise through swamps and marshes in the Everglades of Florida, although they weren't initially invented to serve civilians or for recreational purposes. They have been widely acknowledged as a perfect means of transit through coastal mangroves and marshes. So 10 years after the first airport was created, it was used by the British Army during their First World War Mesopotamian campaigns in 1950. Although civilian airports began to be constructed in 1920, they didn't see wide usage until 1930s. At the same time, in the early 1930s, the amphibious vehicle grew popular in America. One of the first airboats produced in Florida was the Whoosh Mobile, built by the Floridian frog hunter Johnny Lamb in 1935 to Chokolowski, Gladesman, Ernst, and Bill Yates built their own version of an airboat. Unfortunately for the latter, he became the first person to die in an airboat accident. Regardless, modern airports have not only become more popular, but are also viewed as very safe. Today is also commemorated as National Arabian Horse Day in US that celebrates on February 19th. It is one of those animal days that millions of Americans cherish. This is because Arabian horses have become so widespread in the country that even though they could only be owned by people of affluence originally, they are now beasts that any average American can own. Despite the Middle East being the earliest origin of the horse breed, more than half of the few millions Arabian horses in the world are found in the US ground. The Scottsdale Show under the Arabian Horse Association of Arizona created National Arabian Horse Day in 2021 to be celebrated on February 19th. The aim is to increase the public interest as well as to inform them about the exclusiveness of the Arabian horses. The day is also supported by the Arabian Horse Times and was first celebrated in 2022 amidst wide acclaim. This was to be expected, as the Arabian horse holds a special space in the hearts of many horse admirers. The Arabian horses are natives to the Middle East, particularly the Bedouin populated parts thousands of years ago. These desert Arabs bred and domesticated the animals have used them for purposes such as war horses. The horses were introduced into other parts of the world through the Islamic conquest of Arab warriors in European, Asian, and North American states. Although there were other horse breeds in Europe because before the Arab conquest, the Arabian horse distinct features made it widely coveted, and between the 11th and 13th centuries, they were crossbred with local breeds, producing European breeds with distinct Arabian features. The historic Cravat Arabian stud in England, founded by Lady Anne Blunt and her husband between 1878 and 1970s, produced horses that contributed to the spread of Arabian breeds to parts of Russia, North and South America, Poland, and Australia. In the late 1800s to early 1900s, wealthy American entrepreneurs, fascinated by the beauty and distinct features of Arabian horses, began to import them from Middle East Asia and Europe. Through the extensive breeding programs in the late 20th century, which saw the birth of about 30,000 Arabian foals yearly, the horse breed became exceedingly abundant in the US. Today, of the few million Arabian horses in the world, more than 50% are in America. Today is also commemorated as National Chocolate Mint Day in US. Celebrates the unusual yet delicious flavor, which has become a classic over time. The combination seems to make for healthy alternative. Chocolate helps produce serotonin and dopamine, and the combination of that with mint overall makes for healthier candy. Mint is also a powerful herb which aids digestion and fabulously freshens breath. This triumphant flavor combination means an entire day dedicated to its taste and vigor. Announced by the United States Nation Confectionaries Association, National Chocolate Mint Day honors the flavor pairing and reflects the mishmash of these two flavors and their popularity. Today is also commemorated as Prevent Plagiarism Day in US. This day is observed throughout the country to bring awareness to plagiarism issues in industries and careers like academia and media production. While the definition of plagiarism may differ depending on the institution, the act typically involves presenting someone else's work as your own original work. Plagiarism, someone's work, is considered an ethical violation. In some countries, it is also even considered a crime. However, there are some cultures where plagiarism is condoned and even seen as flattery, making prevent Plagiarism Day essential for people working in the country. Plagiarism refers to the act of taking someone else's work and representing it as your own work. This act applies to thoughts and ideas, language and expressions, and any other presentation of original work. In academia and journalism, plagiarism is considered a serious ethical violation, and people who plagiarize work are usually shunned and penalized accordingly. The act is not punishable under the law except in some countries like India and Poland. However, plagiarism is also a copyright infringement and violates the moral rights of an author or creator. It is a civil issue that causes harm to the creator and can be punished under the law. Some acts of plagiarism in academia are convicted as the cases of fraud. Examples of these would be situations where people plagiarize work to pass off their own for specific honors or awards, jobs or positions of authority. This can result in severe consequences, including suspension and expulsion. In the arts and media production, plagiarism remains a contentious act. Art involves reuse copies, fan engagement, parodies, imitations, and other forms that use already created media. These forms typically transform the original piece of art in some way, except copies and forgeries, which are intended to be exact replicas. The lack of clear line between all these forms make it difficult to identify and penalize plagiarism in the arts. As such, the primary spaces where plagiarism can be identified and penalized appropriately are academics and journalism. Today is also commemorated as National Vet Girls Rock Day in US. The day highlights the contribution of women veterans who worked in the US military and gives an opportunity to the community and national bodies to give back to them. For female veterans, the day is also an opportunity to celebrate the lifelong bonds they have formed through their service. It is no easy feat to serve in the military and then transition back to civilian life. For this reason, Vet Girls Rise purpose is to support female veterans and improve their lives. National Vet Rock Day was established in 2017, celebrating the history and lives of women in military long before women were allowed to serve in the military. They participated in wars as nurses, cooks, and caretakers for soldiers. In 1908, President Theodore Roosevelt established the Navy Nurse Corps. The first 20 female participants were called the Sacred 20. The first woman to be officially enlisted was Loretta Perfectus Walsh in 1917. When she joined the American Navy, women were officially allowed to participate in active military and combat roles in the last 2 years of World War II. 33,000 women signed up to serve in different roles. Hundreds of them were part of the Women Air Force Service Program, testing military aircraft. They have made a remarkable distinction in the history of US military. After the Civil War, Dr. Mary Walker was honored with a medal for her work as a surgeon during the war in 1990. Commander Maureen Farren became the first woman to command and combat ship, the USS Mount Vernon. In 2016, Captain Kristen Grace became the first female Army infantry commander after guarding from Ranger School. So, female veterans also struggle with mental, physical, and financial problems and find it difficult to integrate into civilian life after experiencing war. Many women suffer from MST, military sexual trauma, cardiovascular risk factors, depression, eye and skin disorders, and spine conditions. This calls for support and care from every person. Support groups for female vets have been created, and National Vet Girls Rock Day was established to create awareness and give them more support. It is celebrated in meetup groups in different spots around the country. You can join one to celebrate. There is also commemorated as National Lash Day in US. To promote the importance of proper eyelash care, it is a day to notice and appreciate both true and false eyelashes for the beauty they add to our look. Lashes are known to make eyes pop and stand out from the crowd. They also serve an even more important role in helping to protect our eyes from dirt, germs, and foreign objects and prevent the lubrication moistures in our eyes from evaporating. Today is also commemorated as Shivaji Maharaj Jayanti in India. Shivaji Jayanti on February 19th celebrates the great emperor of Maratha. This day is celebrated in the state of Maharashtra to honor the birth and life of the emperor. So, this is the name of the great emperor of Maratha Empire in the 17th century. He was born on February 19, 1630, in the Srivneri fort. He was named after the goddess Shiva, who blessed his mother prayers for his son. Shivaji founded the Maratha Empire after seizing the forts of Torna, Raigad, and Kondana at the age of 17. His coronation as Emperor of Maratha was held in Raigad in 1670. Shivaji is a figure who represents courage, freedom, and fight for independence. This day was first celebrated by Lokmanya Tilak in Pune in 1895. The freedom fighter Bal Gangadhar made the holiday popular by making Shivaji achievements known, making the day widely celebrated in India. The day is celebrated by gathering at the first captured by Shivaji and commemorating his acts and achievements. We respect his great feats at his young age and great war tactics, which established him as the leader of Maratha. We can celebrate the day. Today is also commemorated as Tug of War Day in US. Tug of War has grown up from days of your youth. In addition to having its own day, Tug of War has national and international federations that sponsor worldwide tournaments. And there are rules, lots of them. Fortunately, the International Federation Tug of War rules don't have to apply to you if you have decided to relieve your youth and find a tug of war game nearby. Tug of War is one of the simplest games to play. All you need is a long rope and anywhere from a few people to dozens of people, and you can even play. Tug of war is one of the simplest games to play. All you need is a long rope and anywhere from few people to dozens of people. You can even play one-on-one tug of war with short rope and your dog. Just be prepared to lose. Dogs are naturals at this game. To play tug of war, place the rope in the middle of a field, tie a cloth in the middle, set up marker lines 10 to 2 feet from the center, then split into teams and try to pull the cloth on the rope and the other team by default across your marker line. Simply enough. It's great for building muscles and for fun, and be thankful that you don't play tug of war the way ancient Vikings did, where they tugged on animal pelts stretched over a fire pot, and game losers received a hot food or worse, even if they were unlucky. There is also commemorated as US Coast Guard Reserve Birthday in US, which takes place on February 19th annually. On June 23rd, 1939, Congress gave the Coast Guard Reserve a legislative mandate to use civilians. It was done to promote safety on the high seas and the nation's navigable waters. It was non-military and was formed by unpaid volunteer US citizens who owned yachts or boats. On February 19, 1941, Congress amended the 1939 Act by passing the Auxiliary and Reserve of 1949. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form before you leave the polls session. So see you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night.